Hey, how's it going?
Howdy.
Hi,
Am I there? No, I'm turned down. Are you
I
there
can hear
now?
you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Whew.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm doing okay. I've I'm that much closer to getting that website launched. Wednesday is the due day. Hey Tracy,
How are you, Susan?
Wednesday, as in the day after tomorrow,
as in the day after tomorrow.
is launch
Yes.
day.
Yay!
Shazam.
I know. It's been a long time coming. But no, I'm feeling good about it. There's some last minute testing and some information I have to add in. But otherwise, it's ready to go.
Terrific. And it's about time.
Oh, bloody hell. You are so right. Yes.
You like how it looks?
Yeah, I do. And I've had a couple of different people take a look at it and say, and actually Kate had some really good suggestions last November, which helped me articulate feedback to the designer. So that was really good. But I have news. I have, well, not okay. One piece of news. I'm still waiting to hear on the big grant, but I did manage to get a placement for an 18-month tourism experience mentorship.
Oh, you got that.
I got that.
Fantastic.
So
What
10 in the
exactly is
province.
that? What
It's
is that?
So it's a program that Tourism Saskatchewan is piloting, working with 10 different tourism providers, and of all different
Susans.
in order to help develop an event or an experience that will draw in tourists to your area. And so it's in addition to simply accommodation, it's providing, it's designing something. So they'll help with the business planning, they'll help with the marketing. They'll video the first pilot.
Oh,
So
very
that you
cool.
can use that for promotion.
Mhm.
And there's a very strong schedule to it. So as much as anything, it's not only going to inspire me, but also give me a structure to work within. So that's
cool.
yeah.
Do you have a sense of what the experience will be, or do they help you sort of figure that out based on your business?
Yeah, they'll help me figure that out. I know it, I know that it'll provide an experience that helps connect with the land.
Yeah.
Whether it's whether it's a 3-hour thing or a 3-day thing or a range therein. I've got a lot of different ideas. What this program will help me do is narrow down, focus on one, get it there.
Yeah.
And that I can, and so it'll give me something to build on.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. I'm very pleased with that. And
when does that start?
it starts with 2 online courses to take on my own in February. They've got to be done by the end of February. And then we start gathering as a group. And in March. And start that process. So I'm assuming that the 2 online courses will be all about like what are the different ingredients that you want to have in. And
you don't know that yet. You don't know what the.
Well, I know the storylines, I know bits and pieces, but I've never I've never developed a tourism experience.
Well, you're developing one now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I've learned one aspect of, and the hosting aspect, the welcoming aspect is pretty innate. It's, and I've done a lot of event planning in the past. I've done a lot of workshop conference planning. What's different about this is identifying a core market that will draw people in, and hopefully collaborate with other people in the area.
So who's doing this?
Tourism Saskatchewan. So it's the provincial tourism. It's
And do you know what possessed them to do this? Is tourism down in Saskatchewan or just?
oh, it's down everywhere, but it's all about product development. There's and helping not only develop a product for the industry, but also to do it in such a way that it's financially sustainable and is marketed well. So it's a pilot program that they're hopefully then going to be able to offer to more. But Saskatchewan as a province is not on the, it's not the top of the list for most people that come visit. It's very much under the radar. And
That's true. I mean, I know coming from, well, I'll generalize and probably lie through my teeth, but it's not first on the list of Canadian destinations.
no, it's not
From
a
the
big
US,
city. It's not, we've got a couple of decent cities that are reasonably eclectic, and one in particular that has a lot going for it, but still the province has the reputation of just being in the middle of the flat prairies, so you just drive through it as quickly as you can. And it's not a place that, unless you have family here, you'll actually make a point of visiting. And it's only since I've moved here, and this part of the province is pretty it's really different. But I'm also learning about like gorgeous lake country.
I was
Just
gonna say, it's pretty known for outdoor adventuring,
yes,
if anything.
yeah, yes. Yeah, so that's the building. That's the
Well, that's exciting.
mhm.
That's a major win. That's an all caps win.
Yeah, I'm really pleased. And so that, along with the website coming up and figuring out the whole online booking and new cancellation process. So I did some research, Anne, and
Yes,
I
and so
know.
what's the deal with the online booking and the
So well, I've decided, I've gone ahead with a 50% deposit, and they have figured out how to do an automatic reminder. They can't put the second payment through automatically, but what they can do is an automatic email with a direct link to the person, provide
I
the final
presume that
payment.
also sends an email to you to follow up with whoever it is.
Yeah, good point.
What's that?
Very good point.
I mean, I would
good
hope that it
point.
would go two directions.
Yeah.
If the one to you is as important or more important than the one to the client.
Yeah, good, very good point. So in terms of not scaring people off by requiring the full 100% upfront, I'm also concerned, I'm also liking having a 50% deposit, so we actually get some cash flow in the winter months. As that was highlighted over the last couple of weeks. And another thing is, so I've just started Jonathan's 6-month social media mastermind again. So he managed to rejig my contract so that it includes the 6-month mastermind. And that's good, because there's also a good accountability aspect to that. And next,
Hi, Kate.
hey.
Sorry to leave you
Hey.
in the waiting room. I hope you weren't there long.
Hmm.
Good magazines there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna read 'em.
Hmm.
Okay, sorry I interrupted, Susan. Go.
Sorry.
No. Hey, so Kate, the website goes live on Wednesday. Yay.
Good.
And
Are
then-
you happy? Like, do you like it?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, it's looking good. There's still a certain busyness but it's much less. They've toned back a lot of it. And I think it works with, and I'd be really interested in getting everybody's feedback. So once it's live, if I could send out a note and have you guys take a look, I would be
Sure.
so appreciative. And then the next task there is getting the online gallery and shop up and running. We parked that, but hopefully it'll be up and running by next week. If we can get all the product information together and loaded, we can at least
And
get that.
and so what is your cancellation policy now? Did you change
It
that?
is, so they're, so they're giving a 50% deposit up front. They they get full refund up until 30 days before. Once, or 31 days before. At 30 days, if they cancel within 30 days, they lose half of that. That's 25% of the full booking. Then 14 days before, then they have to provide the final payment 14 days before the arrival. And at that point, they get 0% refund. So they either get rid of their, if they haven't provided final payment 14 days up front, they either lose their reservation or they have to pay in full. Essentially.
That sounds good.
Yeah, and that 14-day, when I was looking at Airbnb, it's still pretty, it's within that conservative without being completely out to lunch or without being too extreme
Mhm.
with the,
Good.
yeah.
That's fantastic. So what's next? What's the situation with QuickBooks? Still moving forward on that?
Still moving forward. Yeah, turns out Terry has had trouble getting access to the Canadian online version. So I may not get her help. The Canadian bookkeeper I'm working with touched in and had just wanted to know where I was at and is open to me shooting just questions free of charge as I get my feet underneath me, and then
Good.
hopefully, yeah. So I've gone through a few YouTube videos and I've been mucking around with adjusting categories and that kind of thing, but a lot of work ahead. But at least everything's now in there.
Terrific. Well, that's a lot of progress. That's great.
Oh,
So-
I have to, and thank you, Anne, but I did produce my very first profit and loss statement. It was and it was accepted by the feds, the federal grant agency, and I haven't had any questions on it. And
there was
it
profit.
it may not have been based on QuickBooks, but it sure as heck.
It doesn't need to be based on QuickBooks. It just needs to be based on the truth.
Yeah, Yeah, which it was. As to my best understanding.
That's all they ever are.
Yes, so that was a win.
And so do you feel more comfortable knowing what a profit and loss statement is now?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Good.
And it's separating that out from the balance sheet, the balance achieving. So I've been dallying around the profit and loss statement for the last few years, just preparing for tax, to submit my taxes. But now it's very clear. Then the big challenge for me is going to be able to develop that balance sheet in a way that is accurately represents all of the different, the physical assets and the various
Yeah, you've
parts
got
of
a
this
lot going
business.
on there,
Yeah,
but
But-
you'll get there.
yeah, and I have incentive because just if one of us kicked the bucket and had to hand this off to my niece to figure out, it would be a nightmare. And I don't want to do that to anybody. So we've got to get this.
At least just make it a bad dream.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
No, I have incentive not only for my own peace of mind and be able and ability to know where everything is at, but also just from a perspective of not killing anybody who needs to deal with the information after the fact.
trust me, it'll still be a bad dream, regardless of how clean it is. Right, Tracy?
Mm. I know. We're still finalizing my parents.
What will still
NEM.
be a bad, parental stuff, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Postmortem issues.
yeah.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
look at whose bright shiny face is in the lower right-hand corner of my screen. That's right. It's guest starring appearance by Kate Bonnycastle. How the heck,
Kate.
Nectar Spectre, are you?
I have chocolate in your honor.
Yes.
Happy New Year, and how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I've survived so far. Here we are, 2022,
End of January already.
end of January already. So are we doing our am I
Yeah,
just
what's
reporting
happening?
out?
What's wins? What are your wins? What are your sins? What are your...
My wins and my sins. I think I'll stay quiet on the sins. I have my 2022 cash flow statement. I quite like it. I did my reverse. Yeah. So that's a super helpful thing. And I put in my, I put in all my anticipated expenses. I left my cash balance going in at 0. So I'm still doing my financial Fridays.
As
So
long
every
as
Friday.
long as it's not in reality negative, then
Right.
you're
Well,
ahead.
it's interesting to see, I started with 0, so it's interesting to see at the end of January, my hard costs, here's I'm $5,000 in the hole. So I will reconcile it at the end of the month with how much money has actually come in, because it's not automatic, but that's great. The other thing I did is at the end of last year, I signed on with a virtual assistant. So yeah, not not a huge expense, but it is a monthly expense that I've committed to. So that adds I think I mentioned this the last time, that adds a bit of a hunk onto the bottom line, right?
I
Where
don't actually
suddenly,
remember hearing about a virtual assistant.
okay, well, so you know how my expenses are pretty low,
Right,
right? I was getting through the year with $5 grand, 7
Right.
grand, So then suddenly you add $1,000 a month. That's to that. That's a big jump for me. Suddenly now I'm paying
and
her
is that how much your
$1,000.
virtual assistant is?
Yeah, she's $945. So with tax, it's 1017.
For how much?
It's like
That sounds like a lot.
45 bucks an hour.
Yeah.
Is that 20 hours a month?
So about 5 hours a week,
I
like
guess,
an hour
yeah.
a day.
Well, I don't know how she divides it up. I'm not.
No, but I mean, on average over
Yeah.
time, that's kind of what it comes to.
Yeah, what's 45 times, what did I say, 20 hours? Yeah, 900, and then the taxes. So there's, that's a $10,000 kind of suddenly, like where my expenses were pretty low. However, so that's fine. It's not on a year contract or anything. I'm not, but so that the other thing that did, so now that's on my cash flow statement. So then I can see sort of how that impacts the whole year. So then when, do you know Madeline McRae? Do you remember her from the Sassy group? So she came back to me and said, hey, I'd love to work with you again. Is there some kind of retainer thing we can work out? And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And then I suddenly realized, hey, if I had a retainer that covered my virtual assistant, then I know it's covered. So it's like, oddly enough, Madeline McRae's new retainer perfectly covers it just feel like it was just like, well, that was easy. Like, I'll say yes to this. And in 1 day per month, I can cover off my virtual assistants, or 1.5 days a month, she's covered. So I just want to say, it just made it very easy to do those calculations. Like, what do I need to cover the virtual assistant so that one retainer covers the other retainer? Yeah, it was good.
And you have a retainer client.
And I have a retainer client and possibly a second one. We'll see what she says. So I did tons of
for writing that you like to do.
We'll see. We'll see. It's for regular content, and you know how I feel about that, Anne.
That's why I was asking.
It feels like we can repurpose some stuff, and if I get the process down to make it she's pretty easy to work with, I have to say. So
that's good. And maybe another one, which would be another $1,000 a month.
Oh, the other one's even bigger than that. It's like double that. So yeah, so it's not $5,000 a month.
I didn't say
it's only 1,000. Oh, I thought you said $5,000.
No,
anyway,
sorry.
And then maybe a second one. Yeah. So it opens that, like, it just kind of opens my headspace for that retainer approach. I figured out how it might work.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. And meanwhile,
I did lots of competitive research to figure out what I should be charging. So I think I figured it out. So that's good.
And still doing the writing, the blogs. The blog.
The Almost Writers Club?
The Almost Writers Club.
That'll start up again in March.
Oh, not till March.
Yeah, I need some time to kind of figure it out.
Is that for real or is that an excuse? That
It
sounds like an
feels
awful
real.
lot of time.
I know. But I want to do it in clean quarters. So there you go.
Does that mean you need to clean your office?
Needs to clean the inside of my head, clean my brain.
How is March a clean quarter?
Thank you.
April, May,
Susan.
June. April, May, June. End of March.
Okay.
Like I would, because I would pitch it in March and fill it in March. Yeah. So that I could start in April.
Oh, so
I
we're
will
not even
plan
gonna start till
accordingly.
April. It gets worse.
Yeah, it's worse.
So you lose the whole quarter.
I wouldn't say lose. I would say I'm figuring it out. I'm making it better.
Okay. Are the 5 who were in it gonna stay in it?
I don't know.
Okay. So anything I can help you with questions wise, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
I don't think so, actually.
The cash
I-
flow forecasting process was fun and exciting.
It was fine, fun and yeah, it was fun and exciting. Yes,
Gratifying. Let's change the word to gratifying.
satisfying, gratifying. Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you know how it's going.
Good.
Yeah, and I've chased down almost all my money. I think I think there's like one more invoice and 2020 is all collected.
You mean, I hope 2021.
2021, yes, sorry. It's just feels like one unending 2020.
Yeah, and it started in, was it 2020 or 2019? I can't even remember now.
2020.
2020.
2020? Seems
March.
like forever.
Yeah, it seems like forever.
Was February, March of 2020.
Right. Seems like forever. Well, great. I think this is, I'm thrilled for your retainer clients and your. cash
Yeah,
flow
and I've got it,
forecast.
and I have an ambitious revenue goal.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, because I did our work back, like here's how
Right.
much I want at the end, and
dare you declare it? Do you want to? You could say no.
oh, I don't know what to do about that, Anne.
Do you want to declare what's left in the pot at the end that you're trying to get to?
$8,000. There.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have
So
a,
it's ambitious. But I'm just, and I crunched the numbers a different way that wasn't ambitious. And then I just thought, no, I threw those numbers out. I'm just going to stick with the one. It's a revenue scenario. I'm not even going to try and call it a goal because it would be a huge leap over last year. I'm not even sure if that, but let's see.
but your goal at the end of the day is to have an $8,000 party.
Yeah,
After all is said and done, paid taxes, everything done.
correct.
Got it.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, $8,000 after tax party
And paying yourself something.
and paying myself that after owner's salary.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Good.
Okay, you're inspiring me down the road. That I might actually have that amount of money.
Money
That I might
left
actually have
over.
That I might actually have a salary.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
And-
I'll let you know how it goes, but,
Okay.
and my husband got a new job, so, that's an aside, but
Oh, he did? Was he looking for one or someone came up
no,
and said,
they-
hey,
yeah.
we got a
they-
deal for you?
Yeah, we've got a deal for you. They made him the 6 o'clock anchor, the supper time news anchor.
Whoa, what channel? Well, how can I YouTube him?
You can try ctv.ca, I guess. Yeah,
Has he
so
been- I thought has he been an on-air anchor before?
he has, he's done it, he's filled in before. Yeah, but it hasn't been his full-time job. So he's been a on-air reporter. And now
For some
he's
reason I thought he
making,
was a print reporter. Why did I think he was a? print-
no, never print, always TV.
Oh, I did not know that.
What's his last name, Kate? What's his name?
Todd Battis, Battis.
All right.
Yeah, so now I have to start watching the news from 6 to 7 every night.
So has he
Oh,
started?
He starts next Monday.
And is this a new company or just a?
Oh, same network, which is great, so he keeps his vacation and seniority, and yeah, it's great.
Is he excited?
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Let me see what picture, I'm gonna follow that and see what picture they put up. Yeah, see, it says national team. They've got to change that because he's no longer, yep, well, looks a little older now, but yeah. What did you ask me? He starts
I don't know.
Monday.
He starts Monday? Oh, there he
Yeah.
is.
Mhm.
Yeah, 6 to 7 every night. So he started, he's been buying a lot of shoes and ties and
What does he need
clothes
shoes for?
to go with the suits he's wearing.
Oh,
But you
no,
can't
under
see
the
any of that
desk,
on
they
camera.
wear sneakers.
I know they do wear sneakers. Yeah, Tracy, when he's interviewing somebody, or I don't know, I guess you can see him, or when he gets up and walks over to talk to the weather guy. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, if they do that on,
Yeah.
on set.
Yeah.
Have you watched the morning show on Apple TV?
Yes. So in fact, Tracy, I watched it and then, oh yeah, I loved it. Tried to get him to watch it. He couldn't watch it. It was too uncomfortable. It was like, it was not, he said, this is not entertaining at all.
Is
He
it-
was so
what is it?
stressed.
Is it
Yeah,
accurate?
it's so close to home that it was too hard to watch.
That's what I was wondering, if it was
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah. I mean, and
And
that's American TV, right? Like it's
Yeah.
a big American network. Some, not all of it was
So is that on Netflix or where is that?
Apple TV.
Apple
Okay.
TV.
Yeah.
I found it to be too long for my attention span. It's like a whole hour.
Oh, I could watch 4 of them in a row. I loved it.
I could watch Ted Lasso 10
Yeah.
of them in a row, but I can't
Yeah.
watch multiple.
Watch 3 hours.
Yeah, isn't it funny? I can binge watch 6 hours of a show, but I don't want to watch a movie. That's so long.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
It's true. But that one, and I found it to be it's a little too dark for me right now.
The morning show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of.
So when he gave up and just like, I can't watch that. I can't watch that. I can't watch that. I just went ahead and plowed through the second season.
Oh, I don't think I've even gotten through the first season yet.
It's pretty heavy.
Maybe I did.
It is.
Anyway. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. So that's. That's my Happy New Year news.
Good news.
And the family visits over Christmas?
Happened. So it was
Yay.
good. Yeah, it was
Good.
great. It was great. We all needed that. And my eldest goes back to university on Monday. Because he's been doing it online from here. So he's supposed to get on a plane and go back to Ontario next weekend. So we're inching back to normal.
That leaves one in the house though, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
That's tolerable.
it's not horrible. Yeah, so
I saw that eye roll.
I'm still not, I still haven't booked any trips anywhere though. Tracy, you've been flying around.
I'm flying in April.
Out to see Susan.
Already, flights are booked, cars
Good
booked.
for you. Good for you.
Yep, very excited. Driving Friday with one of our compatriots here.
You're riding.
Point.
Are you guys going somewhere?
New
Point.
York City.
I'm riding.
Well, that
I
was
was
an
gonna
interesting clarification.
It's an
Who
important.
picks the music?
Whoever.
What are you doing in New York?
hopefully going to see the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon if our
Oh.
request ever gets off the queue.
Okay.
I say we just show up and beg,
Yep.
but. So Tracy, what's going on with you?
Oh, not much.
Okay.
I realized I had a few things in my 2022 cash flow forecast that I needed to update. Because some of my like monthly recurring and annual recurring, I canceled. So I have to take those out of my calculation. So I realized I need to do some tweaks. And now I'm trying to figure out how to know when Massachusetts is going to stop charging me for unemployment tax. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out what the hell this notice says.
Oh, so you have a notice that purportedly speaks to that, but doesn't really.
Well, I just don't understand it. It's like
Was it with
employers
your lawyer?
employers will pay on the first 15,000 of workers' wages in 2022, but then it goes into this whole 3-year wage averaging, which for me is $30,000. So am I paying on the first 30 or the first 15? Like, what the hell? And why doesn't this percentage match what ADP is actually withholding? And it's just all very confusing. And I think last year, when we were putting it together, I had already gotten like past the point where I had fully paid my unemployment tax liability for the year. So I was able to look back historically and try to figure it out.
Well, can
Oh.
ADP help you with that?
Probably if I got on the phone with them, but that sounds like a huge time suck. And I feel like it's not a huge amount of money any given month. I'll just wait and let it
Well,
play
just put
out.
your worst case.
Yeah. I'll just let it, wait and let it play out. So yeah, so I gotta tweak my 2022 forecast.
Put in worst case and then your cash will come out better.
Yeah. And then I'm looking at like what sort of key factors I should be looking at on like a weekly or monthly basis. This came out of a conversation with Lisa Cherney, just talking about rather than constantly marketing to potential clients, sort of looking at where my best referrals are coming from and making sure that I'm kind of focused on those areas. And so we were starting to look at how many potential clients how many potential clients do we add to our system every week? How many discovery sessions are being held? How many times am I being hired? And for how much money? And then more importantly, where did all of those people come from? And so I'm trying to figure out how I can pull that information out of what I have, because Clio Grow is not the best for culling that information out, unfortunately. So that's what I'm working on.
Nice. But it's all, you have it all, it's just a matter of accessing. Maybe. Might have it.
And I'm just trying to figure out the least time intensive way to pull it out on a weekly basis.
But do you really need to do it weekly? That sounds like a lot to me.
I forget why we were talking about doing it weekly. I think I was thinking about doing it weekly because I suspect it is going to be a little bit time intensive, and it would just be that much worse if I do it monthly, to the point where I would then say, oh, fuck this, I'm not doing
Well, or maybe you do it weekly for a month, or maybe 6 weeks until it becomes a little routinized, and then you say,
Yeah.
okay, it doesn't change enough, so I don't need to. Now that I have the memory muscle.
So are you trying to figure out who refers you the most, or where, or,
So we track every phone call that basically anytime someone makes an inquiry of us to see whether or not they want to hire us, we track that information.
and
So
what are
I
the
know-
sort of, what are the
So that I can-
categories?
Yeah, so we keep track of, are they coming in for estate planning or like a probate administration or something like that? If we get to talk to them, we also make sure we always find out how they were referred to us or how did they find us.
Yeah,
Because I want to know, first of all right, I know that like 40% or 40 to 45% of the time that the phone rings, those people are going to hire us.
yeah,
But I also want to know like the percentage of people who hire us based on how they found us.
yeah, I
Because
know.
I
I'm
have a
trying to,
suspicion that the people who are finding us, oh, I found your website, but more importantly, the people who find us through Facebook groups. Oh, your name came up in the
Okay.
Marlboro Moms group, the
that's what
local
I'm
town
trying to,
moms
that was
group.
like, what are the options? The options
Yeah,
are
my
refer-
suspicion is that those
word of
people,
mouth or Facebook group.
Yeah.
Like, you're not running an ad, TV ads, so you know
No.
it's like TV ads, right?
no,
That's what I
but
meant.
I
It's like,
think the
yeah.
real casual word of mouth stuff is sucking up a lot of our time and not producing good
Ah,
results. And so talking with Lisa, my mentor, Lisa Cherney, she was like, well, do you have any data on that? Like, do we actually know that? And I was like, no, we really don't. It's my suspicion, but I don't have data on it.
Excellent question on her part.
Because I started to realize, I'm like, if all my best clients and best, source of clients is coming by referral from financial advisors,
right.
maybe what I need to be doing with my marketing, instead of sort of constantly doing social media stuff and creating new blog contents and whatever,
It's just
what
go
I need to
straight
be
to
doing,
those financial advice.
right, focus
Yeah.
on, I'm here to support you financial advisors in helping your clients. And, if I'm going to create content, make it content that's going to be relative and useful to them to be able to share with
Right.
their clients. And this all
Right.
came up because in our new and our more improved estate planning system, we are much more consistent about reaching out to the financial advisors of our clients to say, listen, we're creating this estate plan. This is what we're doing. Just want to, make sure we're on the same page on this. And we're going to be getting together with them over here. If you have paperwork that needs to be signed, happy to coordinate. And the financial advisors love the communication. They love being included because they're quite often never included in the conversation. So we've actually started getting referrals from financial advisors of other clients because they liked the system and process. So that's where this all came about. So that's what I've been up to.
I'll be very curious to see what you find in the next couple months, 3 months.
Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah.
close in 100% of the financial advisor referrals,
I'm sorry, was that a question or a statement?
no, I'm just sort of starting a thought and it
Oh.
trailed away. But if you're closing 100% of financial advisor referrals and 25% of Facebook mom groups,
Right.
you know,
Because the people who find us, through like Facebook. So there's two interesting things about that. One, the people who find us through like Facebook groups like that, right? Because somebody went into their mom's group and was like, hey, we need to get our wills done.
right?
And my name comes up. They're the far more likely, their first question is, what's the price? And I already know if that's the first question, they're not going to be a good client for us. They're most likely not going to hire us. And it's probably going to be a waste of my time. So therefore, I need a different response process for those people
Oh,
Right.
right.
versus the person, oh yeah, my financial advisor says I need to do my estate plan and you're the person to work with. So how do we get started? Versus that person, that's a different, right, pipeline. But the other thing about the Facebook groups that's really interesting is they're becoming an evergreen source, because now people are going into their moms groups and they're like, I remember somebody talked about this before. Let me just search the group for estate plan. And then, the 16 times my name came up is still there. So it's like this evergreen thing too, which is kind of interesting.
It's interesting and it's really helpful if it helps close business. I mean, it's almost fascinating how much do you close from the first person who asked versus the person who went back in 3 months later looking.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out like what I need to pay attention to, because Clio Grow's reporting is pathetic.
Excellent.
Like literally, if I go into reports, all I can see, the only thing I can tweak is like lead source and date range. But what it does is like, so if I look for the last 365 days, last calendar year, it says that I added 193 new matters. 72 of them hired us. So therefore my conversion rate is 37.31%. But when it's calculating that conversion rate, it's not factoring in that there's 32 people that are still in our intake process that I haven't even talked to yet. Right? So it's like, it's not conversion rate of people I've met with. It's conversion rate of all people added.
Is it conversion of people who've even already paid you?
It's basically just looking at the number of people who hired us compared to the total number of matters we added in a time period.
Yeah, but how do they define who hired you?
Because I mark it to say that we got hired.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But there's 32 people still in the pipeline somewhere. Either Wendy's reaching out to them, because they've just made first contact, or they're scheduled for a discovery session, but we haven't had it yet.
Right. So it's not like they said no, they're just currently unconverted.
Right. And
Right,
80, I know of the 193, 89 didn't hire us for some, and that's either because we ended up never talking to them, right? It might be that they contacted our office and we got back to them. We just never heard from them ever again. They may have scheduled and canceled and we never heard back from them again. I may have met with them and they decided not to hire us. Or we may have decided, you know what, this isn't going to be a good fit for us. Or, hey, we don't even do that kind of law. Let me refer you to somebody else. There's any number of reasons why they might not have hired us. So that's the reason to track not only how many new matters are we adding and where are they coming from, but how many discovery sessions did I have that week and where did they come from? And how many of those hired us and where did they come from? Yes, ma'am. Yes.
How do you define a new matter? Because to me, just as a layperson, I assumed that was a new client, but that's not.
And so that's another question. Do I only track new clients or do I track all new work, even if it's from an existing client?
Yeah, but when you say they don't hire you, how do they get into the system as a matter if they haven't hired you? That's, I guess, what I don't understand.
So it's probably when a new client, new matter for your purposes is probably the same thing. Because if it's an existing client, they're going to hire me for the repeat business.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Am I the only
Not
one lost
necessarily.
in this conversation? Because you're saying that you had 193 new matters in 2021. I may have that number wrong, and 89 hired you.
89 didn't hire me. 72 hired me.
Okay, 89 didn't hire you, but then I don't understand what defines a new matter, because I would have thought by definition they had hired you if it was a new matter.
It's a new entry into Clio Grow. There were 193.
So it's like a
new pieces of business, new pieces of business. No, it might have been work for an existing client. So for example, I had a client where they wanted to talk about possibly doing updates to their estate plan. I did their original estate plan, so they're already a client. They hired me ages ago. But this time around is a new matter because it's not creating an estate plan, it's doing an estate plan update. And we met and determined that in fact, they don't need to do any updates. So they ended up not hiring me for that new matter.
And a person who finds you on Facebook Moms becomes a new matter?
Yes,
If
in
they-
Clio Grow, in Clio Grow.
Yeah, so it's a lead. It's not a closed client. It's a
Correct.
new matter can be any kind of lead.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So it's just the language I don't understand. But I get it.
Lawyers like to make things
It's a,
complicated.
all right, let's call it potential matters. We
It's
added
a-
193 potential new matters.
I'm going with lead.
Well, lead isn't entirely accurate either because lead implies a person, but one person can call me with two potential new matters.
Oh,
Oh.
As I had that happen just last week where I talked to this guy. He's basically winding down his practice because he's been
Right.
suspended by the licensing board, but he didn't tell me that. I figured that out on my own. But he's got like he wants me to do his own personal estate planning and he wants me to take over this trust that he's the trustee of. So those are two completely
Got
different
it. Okay,
matters, but same lead.
yeah. Yeah.
is it fair to say that's a little unusual though?
Oh, highly unusual.
Okay. I mean, that there are multiple matters that come out of one lead. I guess maybe not, because maybe you have a.
Not in your
medical
business.
application and you
Not-
could have-
not in-
It's
Yeah.
unusual. It's unusual to get multiple matters from the same lead at the same time. It's not unusual for me to get a second matter from a client, once we've already done their estate planning,
Right,
there might be, an update that needs to happen in a couple years or 10 years or whenever it might be.
or there might be like a Medicaid application for parents or something.
Right.
that comes through, okay. All right, I kind of.
Yeah, and that's true. And where my system falls short is that once somebody's a client, they're a client. So if they call me 6 months later and say, you wrote my web copy, now can you write my sales page? It wouldn't track like whether I got that
Right.
business or not, because they're already in my system. They're already a client. They're already,
So Clio is already ahead of the game.
Yeah.
They can
yeah.
split that like that.
What was I didn't hear the question.
Well, it wasn't really a question.
It wasn't really a question, it was a dual comment.
But Clio Grow, which is sort of the before clients hire us software, the reporting capabilities just suck balls. So, I'm
Is it
trying
a
to-
new piece of software?
huh?
Is it a new addition for them?
They bought Lexicata. So it's just Lexicata that's been rebranded.
Oh, and so it sucked balls before it became Clio?
I don't know your other or other attorney client or former attorney client used it when it was Lexicata. So I don't know what it was before.
And then
Clio.
left. I don't even.
But
Anyway.
yeah, the reporting is just awful. And so you look at like lead sources. So I've got, referral, I already know them, Facebook, website, presentation. Somebody found me on Yelp, like whatever. But I've got 63 that are unassigned, either because we forgot to put in the information or we've never talked to the person, so we were never able to find out. Well, you would think I could just click on the unassigned or the number 63 to pull up that list of matters. No,
Oh, wow, really?
you can't. Yeah, you can't click on anything. Here, I can show you. So this is the report. Right, so it shows, and it just automatically defaults to the last calendar year. But it shows 193 matters added, but 32 are still sitting in the intake pipeline. But it doesn't factor this in when it's doing this math. Right?
Yeah,
But it's over here, these different lead sources. Right? This is how many matters we added in any given month that have an unassigned lead source. But you would think I could just click on this to see this list of matters, but no.
wow.
And can
So-
you click
Can you
on
add it any-
Facebook? Can you click on Facebook and it'll show you the money that, like, because that's what you're trying
No.
to figure out, right? How much money
Um,
did I make off of Facebook?
That's down here.
Oh, okay, so
But and these numbers are basically my guesstimate of
Yeah.
what that new
Yeah.
work might or should be worth.
'cause
And
all
again,
t- yeah.
not all those fields are populated either. So I know a lot of this is just, it's manual.
Yeah,
So then what I can do, let me see. I'm trying to find, let's see. What I can do is I can export this matter list. And I know I've cropped it because there's client data in this next
Right.
column. So to maintain confidentiality. I
And
can
then you can
export
sort
this,
it that way.
all this data. And I can sort by the date we created it. So I can start to see, oh yeah, we added 10 people the first week of January. We had 10 potential new matters the first week of January. And so I can see what type of work it is. I can see the current status. They're all assigned to me. Sometimes they get a description, not always. I'm the one who adds these values based on what I know.
Hmm.
And then there's
Okay.
more data over here. So I'm just trying to figure out.
And is there a column that says like Facebook, there's a column that says where they
Yeah, here.
where they
Where
were.
they
Yeah, there
That's
is.
okay.
There's
Isn't that
a,
what you're trying to figure out with Lisa?
yeah. So there is a column, which is the contact source,
Yeah, yeah.
which is how they found us.
Right,
And so that's what I'm trying to figure out the most time efficient way to cull out the data I need, given the resources I have,
Right.
without having a completely manual, okay, Wendy, after you enter them in Clio Grow, I want you to also go over to this spreadsheet and enter them over there.
right.
Because I don't want to have to do that. So that's what I'm up to these days.
Well, that's good stuff. It sounds like a little mini program, maybe,
A little mini program, maybe? What do you mean?
or a macro within Excel, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I
Don't
am
ask
just,
me how to do
I
it,
am
but-
looking at, I'm trying to see, I think with Clio Grow, all I can do is export all matters. I don't think I can export like, just like, I think if I do this weekly, like every week I have to export that same spreadsheet and then just cull out the data I want.
Is that something that you maybe could ask, what's her name, Catherine? No, yeah. Who's your,
Catherine, they don't work with Clio or Clio Grow. I could potentially hire a Clio consultant, but I don't think it's beyond my
right, but,
capability. I just have
and
to
I
think
wasn't even
through.
thinking in terms of Clear, I was just thinking of in terms of once the data is exported.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because I know she's done some analysis for a mutual friend of ours that's been pretty impressive.
Okay,
Just the thought.
okay.
At least the pictures look pretty impressive. I haven't dug into it too much. But it struck me that she has like, there's some capability there that may be worth using.
Okay, that's good to know.
So. Cool. So what's everyone doing in the next month? Ready, go. Everybody all at once. Okay, great.
I'm adding sales pages to my, I'm 3 services, sales pages to my website. So that people know how to work with me. They can do the word rules, like Message Essentials program. They can do the Almost Writers Club when it's back, but it'll have its own sales page. Or I've got day rates, like day rates.
Retainer clients.
Yes, so the retainer clients I will build from the day rates, and then it would start with I think the day rate copy, sales copy will speak to those retainer clients, and basically they'll say, hey, you know, I can see needing you 3 days a month, so can I just do that?
Cool.
Is there a way you can talk about it in and of its own right with existing clients, that this is a new aspect of your business that you're offering that you hadn't before, so that it actually jogs them to think about the possibility?
Yes. If I told them about it, yeah. Yes.
Maybe you could put it in one of your periodic emails.
Maybe I could put it in one of my periodic emails.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that you're excited to be offering this new
yeah,
aspect to
I'm
your
not
business.
sure I'm excited yet there, Susan.
That's
So
see,
I'm gonna wait.
That felt like it was going a little too far.
Far.
Please?
I'm cautiously, hey,
You're
clients,
pleased?
I'm cautiously optimistic that I'm now possibly doing this until it doesn't work for me. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to simplify, like, the number of quotes. Right, like I want my 3 room rates and that's it. I
Right.
don't want to keep
Yeah.
cutting everything every way from sideways. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that's my focus for January, well, which is almost over, is getting those, you know, those sales pages up with prices at the bottom. So I don't have to,
Nice.
Mm.
Susan.
It's really, once this website is up and running, is to make sure that all of the business processes that it's feeding into are responding properly. And that I want to make sure that this online calendar and booking system actually helps streamline our workflow instead of adds to our workflow. And I think there's gonna be a lot of just
Testing.
working it through. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then keep chugging away at QuickBooks.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've written down on my to-do list my 2022 cash flow forecast. Because I do, because I have there's 3 monthly items that are new. At least 3, but just top of mind, there's already 3 monthly items that we've got to cover. And I'm realizing, well, I've got to start really understanding that better.
Yep.
Mm.
Attorney Engel.
I'm working on this, well, finishing off my cash flow forecast for 2022, getting that tweaked, and then, yeah, figuring out how to call this data
College.
data college.
Cool. Well, good. Everyone's got a plan. I like it. Who's doing anything fun besides
when are you guys going to New York?
Friday morning?
Oh, like this Friday.
Yeah, like this Friday,
Nice.
like today. Oh, wait.
Nice try.
I wish.
No, nothing fun. I'm like contemplating going to Toronto to see my mom in March, but I'm not even sure. This stupid.
Well, numbers
like,
are
I'm
starting
not-
to come down here in the Northeast.
Yeah, but yes. And I just feel like
Well,
we're
this Northeast,
so
south of the
slow.
border Northeast. I don't know.
Yeah,
about
no,
north of
I
the
know,
border.
but there's a real lag with our government to loosen, like, yes, numbers are going down. They're going down here too. But it
But
could be,
hospitalizations, I
it
think.
could
are
be
still going up.
May, right? It could be May before they decide to lift restrictions, stuff like that. And I have to deal with my mother's own comfort level. She may not want me coming in and
Even from
And-
Nova Scotia, which has traditionally been so, so much more.
well, because my mom lives alone in her house and she doesn't leave it. The fact that I would even move through an airport
Mhm.
and then take the
Yeah.
TTC to her house. And I can't sit in her house for 4 days. So it would mean me going out to a restaurant now and then to cry
Mhm.
by myself
Mhm.
and then go back to her house. I have to make sure she's comfortable with me, like actually going out and doing stuff once I'm in Toronto. Because she doesn't even go to the grocery store, Susan. So
Oh, boy.
it's breaking the seal, the front door seal. So that's just, I mean, well, that's some people, like, that's how. some people
Yeah.
are. She's
And-
pretty safe, right? So anybody walking into her house is like a bit of I think she'll let me come, and by March it should be better, but it's just like I can't even plan that,
It's going to be a process just for
It's
her
gonna be a process.
psychologically to start
Yeah.
opening up and
Opening up, yeah.
relaxing a little bit.
Yeah.
So I take
And-
it she was not present for the holidays.
My mom, no,
Yeah.
she was by herself. Yeah, didn't go anywhere, didn't see anybody. Talk on the phone a lot. But that's within the country. I don't know when I'm gonna get out of the country again. Like you guys you can go all over the place in the States. I wouldn't, yeah, like it's like once you leave the country, it's all the rules to get back in your country that are a pain.
Yeah.
Well, just
We're-
getting up to Susan's place has been a puzzle to figure out.
Which
Border
tests you
crossings.
need and
Right,
when you need
well,
them.
border
Yeah,
crossings mostly. It's like, oh, wait, they're not open.
right, I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
this one's open, but that's 6
And
hours
when?
away instead of 4. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, and what tests do you need to be allowed in and when do you have to get them? And
Yeah, Neil and I are thinking, are dreaming of going to Paris at the end of March. And this would be our first holiday together in 5 years. Like 5 years. And this is, but I've already been on the plane. I've already been to Toronto and back. But the going out of the country piece
well, I don't,
is
Like,
like
I'm
coming
not
back
scared.
in.
I'm not scared of leaving the country. It's just that it's those
It's
tests.
the return.
Well, it's the tests. Like if you test positive, then what are you going to do for the next 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever it is? That's what I'm quite sure I wouldn't be sick, but all you have to do is get that one red line and suddenly it's like, oh, you need to find yourself an Airbnb for the next 5 days and somebody to bring you groceries or 10 days or 7 days or whatever it is. That would be my concern, Susan. Like you got to be able to get back in the country.
Oh, you're just raising a whole element I hadn't thought of yet.
Oh, wow, we're going out on a high note here.
I'm sorry. No, haven't you aren't you hearing horror stories? Every single person I know who has traveled has tested positive at the airport and had to make new plans.
Oh, I don't.
Or don't
know
you guys
anyone-
hear
I
that all
don't know
the
anyone who
time?
has.
Oh my God, everybody.
And actually, my
No.
brother was in Russia for 4 weeks, and he went through all these machinations to meet the US requirements to get back in the country. Never once did anyone ask him about any of them.
Really? Okay,
No.
well, then don't listen to me, Susan. Don't listen to me.
Well, that's the US coming back into Canada.
We
It
got
really
well, we-
depends. It really depends on
Sure.
where you're coming through and whether the agent, as you're getting on the
Right.
plane, is taking their job seriously, or the border crossing.
Right.
when we went to and from Scotland last summer, I mean, the UK was hardcore about making sure we had our test results to get on the plane to go to Amsterdam, to get on the plane in Amsterdam to fly home. But once we were home, like once we were on US soil, nobody gave a shit. Nobody
Yeah, that's-
asked.
But to
That's
get
what
on
we
the
found.
plane, yeah.
But to get on
yeah,
the plane,
yeah,
Right,
because they can say no. You know, they can
Yeah.
pull you aside for a random test and
but it was just, it seemed very backwards. You would think the US would have cared too when we landed, to make
Right.
sure that, and they didn't. And when we went, again, we had to show our negative test results to get on the plane to go. I can't remember if we had to show it when we got to Scotland. I don't remember.
probably not, because if they let you on the plane, you've already been, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like it's
so-
easier to check the people on the plane than, anyway. It is, I find that really confusing.
And then the UK also had a requirement that we had to coordinate a test through the Department of Health Services that had to be done within 3 days of our getting to
Mm.
Scotland. And let me tell you, that was an expensive test.
Yeah,
And that's what we're required to do.
That
That's
was
exactly
not
what we're.
inexpensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
we
then
have
the
to
US
do-
had its own testing requirements that, we had to test. Obviously, we had to test before we left. That was a UK requirement. We had to test within 3 days of getting there, also a UK requirement. And then the US had their own requirements to test within 72 hours, no more than 72 hours before flying back. Right. And then, of course, that was like, well, 72 hours from when we take off, or 72 hours from when we land, or like, what is,
right. And what if your plane's delayed?
yeah. So it was just,
Yeah.
right. Ooh, I hadn't thought of that one.
so
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all kinds of interesting stuff. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
I've
if we'll
had-
be flying internationally again we're going to Hawaii this coming summer.
yeah, but
And
that's not international.
Hawaii, it's
right?
not international, but Hawaii, because they're an island, they've been having much stricter travel restrictions than most
Oh.
states in the US. So like we're going to Vegas next month, and I'm pretty sure Vegas really doesn't give a shit about anything. So
And
we'll
Susan,
see
you
how
might
that
be all right, because who knows by the end of March, right? Like that's the thing, every 2 weeks, as long as the hump's over, they might open everything up and,
Mhm.
Well, and
It's
I made
possible.
the conscious decision to drive across the border, not fly into,
oh, when you go in April?
yeah,
Ah, okay,
so flying to, where am I flying to? Great Falls, Montana,
yeah, yeah.
and then driving across.
Yes, you should check out the part of the website that points out all the sites to see on your drive up. There's a
Malta.
whole, there's a, there's a whole travel guide just for that drive from the States up to,
Well, it depends on how
And
you
it's
go,
excellent.
whether you go through the 24-hour, the
Right.
24-hour
Oh,
crossing.
let me tell you, Anne's planning has rewritten my thinking about bringing people in from the US, let me tell you.
Yeah, because the 24-hour crossing is a 6.5-hour drive instead of a 4-hour drive.
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
Because
But the
the other
4-hour
crossings
drive
are only
goes through
open, what, 10 to 6 maybe?
So you have to plan your 4 hours really, really well so that you arrive right during their,
Yeah, and the flights aren't that
Okay.
great. So it's
I say you get to the 10 to 6 crossing at 8 o'clock and just bust through the gate. Get rent an SUV and just bust through.
we are renting an SUV. That part actually is happening.
yeah, there
Oh,
might be
like-
some flashing lights behind you if you drive that.
I was so, look, when I took advantage of the last 4 hours that it was open before they rescinded the requirement to have the PCR test. Within the 72 hour, I went down to collect my mail, essentially, that had been
Just like,
sitting for,
I'm
for
going.
2 years.
Yeah.
I find out that they're changing the rules that afternoon and it's just shit. Okay, I've been like, I find my passport in the car down, chat with the wonderful lady who's been keeping my mail and managed to get back to the border 20 minutes before it closed.
But the
Nice.
important question is, what percentage of the mail for the last 2 years that you collected was junk?
It was, no, this was good stuff. It was good stuff.
Oh, good.
All your pottery. barn
Otherwise, I wouldn't have
purchases?
bothered.
Anyway, all right, well,
All right,
great to see you all.
till next month.
Till next
Mhm.
month.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
See you guys later.